I'm MJ. Welcome to the Blogs4Borders video Blogburst, August 7th, 2007. Thanks for joining us as we take a whirlwind tour of illegal immigration news across these United States. Well, this week the whirlwind tour of illegal immigration news stopped and got stuck right here in Chicago. If you're wondering where on earth the video is in this video blogburst, allow me to introduce you to what's left of our video camera after a protest here in the Windy City on Saturday. The camera is just the tip of the iceberg, and since we're shy one video camera to tape this week's show, we decided to fill you in on our violent encounter instead. A protest was scheduled at Chicago's Mexican consulate to support imprisoned former Border Patrol agents Ramos and Campion, and against the Mexican government interfering in the prosecution of U.S. law enforcement agents. Jake and I were the first to approach the protest location, and the usual goon squad of about 40 socialists, communists, and anarchists was already there waiting for us. We skirted them and staked out spots on a narrow median in the middle of the street to get some pictures and video footage. Recognizing us, the crowd immediately began chanting, "Racists, go home!" and "Death to the Minute Clan," at which point we were ambushed from behind by more goons. Jake was pushed, shoved, and generally harassed by several males, one of whom managed to wrestle our video camera away. He handed it off to the crowd, who tossed it from person to person before the ringleader grabbed it back, raised it up in the air, and smashed it into the pavement. Meanwhile, I was shoved out into the street in front of oncoming traffic, which had fortunately been stopped at a light so they weren't traveling at any speed. Multiple women then surrounded me, pushing and yelling at me. One tried to yank my still camera away, but it was looped on my wrist with a camera strap. She proceeded to drag me out into the street by the camera, with the others grabbing me and trying to get me down on the ground. When I managed to stay on my feet, several of them started punching and slapping at my head. At some point, Jake saw what was going on with me and headed toward me to help me out. 4 goons grabbed him, held him back so he couldn't get to me, and taunted him with, "What are you going to do now?" while he watched the mob attack his wife. By this time, more patriots started to show up. One feisty 78-year-old retiree jumped into the melee to try and break things up. He too was surrounded and attacked. Another patriot arrived carrying an American flag. The goons tried to get it away from him, and I think we can all imagine what they had in mind for it. They got the flagpole, but our friend managed to keep the Stars and Stripes safe from being desecrated by this screeching crowd of anti-American... Well, I'll let you fill in the blank with the expletive of your choice. The police squealed up in response to multiple 911 calls. One particularly meaningful one was made by a gentleman who happened to be driving by, saw what was occurring, and pulled over to call the police. When he found out what the protest was about, he flipped his lid. Turns out he is totally against illegal immigration, and pissed off because, among other things, he said his 19-year-old son is a good kid who stays away from drugs, but can't find a job on the south side because they're all being taken by illegals. He told us he would have liked to stick around and protest with us, but he was on his way to pick up his daughter and couldn't stay. The goon who had smashed our camera took off before the police arrived. The 2 women that I could positively identify as having punched me in the head, however, just rejoined the mob circling and chanting on the sidewalk. About a half an hour later, I was still trying to get a policeman to take my information. Someone pointed out that the 2 I could identify had taken off down the street. I pleaded with the police to go after them, and was told it would have to wait until I finished taking Jake's information. 2 patriots went down the street to try and see where they were going, so the opportunity for me to identify them for arrest wouldn't be lost. The cowards were hiding out in a restaurant bathroom, in communication with one of their goon buddies by cell phone to find out when the coast was clear. After we located them, the police finally went into the restaurant and made the arrests. An ambulance was called to check out my arm, which was pretty badly wrenched from all that dragging through the street. But I'm happy to report that all of us who were victims of this unprovoked attack were not only able to walk away, we all stayed for the entire protest. Because we always like to inject a little humor around here, we thought we'd share a snippet from the other side's account of Saturday's events. From the Party for Socialism and Liberation website. Over 70 people turned out at the Mexican consulate for a militant counter-protest against the racist Minutemen. The anti-racist protesters outlasted and defeated the dozen racists who assembled to attack the government of Mexico. I guess counting isn't their strong suit. They were about 50, we were about 40. And they don't appear to be too good at getting the facts straight either. Outlasted and defeated? The police instructed our group to leave first. I'd call that being dispersed, not defeated, but then I have a vocabulary that extends beyond my middle finger. So how in the world are we going to keep doing Blogs for Borders without a camera? The answer is, we don't have to. A most generous benefactor who wishes to remain anonymous has already purchased a replacement camera, and it will be winging its way to us shortly. In response to that generosity, we're begging for the buckaroonies to pay them back. If you like what we do every week and feel the urge to chip in a couple of the aforementioned buckaroonies, please visit our blog at freedomfolks.com and click on the Freedom Folks Camera Fund button on the top left. Thanks for clicking into the Blogs for Borders video Blogburst. Our heartfelt thanks for the encouragement and support of all of you who are helping to get the Blogs for Borders camera rolling again, and to everyone who so faithfully watches, shares, and links the show. You guys rock!